I teach my people that anything that fights your intimacy with God must be approached as an enemy. If you don't approach it as an enemy, anything you make excuses for will eventually govern your life. And one of the things that the Christian must do everything to sustain is your intimacy with Jesus. Anything that fights it, you must label that thing an enemy. Because until it becomes an enemy in your eyes, you will not be willing to make the sacrifices to vanquish it. So things like mobile phones, things like your legitimate rights, sleep, food, if you are married, sex, can become a stumbling block to your intimacy with Jesus. And if you do not approach it and say, this thing is an enemy, you will continue to feed it. And eventually that thing that you feed will now replace the thing that is most valuable to you. It will now become a government. So people cannot pray now without music in the background. So even in their personal prayer places, prayer becomes a difficult enterprise, except they have sound. And there's nothing wrong with sound. I like to pray with sound. But you see, there's a way you will become dependent on the sound, and you will think you are ascending into the courts of God, and you do not know that what you are having is an emotional experience. You are not really climbing the ladder into God's presence. Are you with me? So anything that fights your intimacy with Jesus must be approached as an enemy. So they are architectural metaphors of the Christian life. And what Jesus was trying to emphasize in John 15 is the burden of intimacy. The burden of intimacy. And you see why this is important is we are living in a world that is full of distractions and attractions. In fact, my generation is the most distracted generation on the planet. In all the generations that have lived, we are the ones that are most distracted. There are so many things that are glowing, that are shining in our current space that are very, very easy to turn the Christian's eye away from the things that are important. So Jesus in that teaching was trying to emphasize the fact that you must pursue intimacy, because it's as long as the branch abides, then it can produce fruit. And you know the thing about fruit is something that comes from within the branch.